So 22 days until Kickstarter, and today's reveal is Voltempest. Now, I'm actually in a really unique position today on Tuesday the 25th, where unfortunately I did take today off due to the family emergency that I mentioned in, it would have been Tuesday's video. This one, I don't know when it's going to come out, but last Tuesday, pretty much the 25th, it just, because of that, I am at home and I'm able to actually film my live reaction to this. So, actually, let me plug in my earbuds to make sure you all can't hear it secondhand through my speakers. But the idea being that you get to see my live reaction to it. You will not be able to hear the audio yourself if I configured this correctly. And that is just to encourage you to go watch the reveal yourself if you have not already. But I thought it'd be cool just for my live reaction, honestly. So let's get right into it. Also, ignore the mess on the desk as packaging orders while also waiting. So here we go. Sounds like a Thunder Elestral just setting. So let's see. It is, it's a 3-spirit, 2 Thunder, 1 Wind, the first of its kind. That's exciting. 1310 stat line. That is not the best attack or defense for 3 spirits, but it's still a big Elestral. And for the 2 and 3 spirit Elestrals, I don't know if necessarily comparing them to other 2 and 3 spirit Elestrals is necessarily the best, because you're probably just going to answer it with cheaper options than another 3 spirit Elestral. But it just means that it cannot be easily griefed by smaller Elestrals, which is good. But let's see. You can disenchant 1 Thunder or 1 Wind Spirit from this Voltempest. If you do, your opponent must expend 3 spirits. Oh, okay. More burn. Not in the Wind is the only one that's had burn so far. Of the Thunder hasn't had any burn. So that's interesting. Just kind of spreading the burn off multiple elements. Let's see. If Zeus is enchanted, this Voltempest cannot be targeted by the opponent's card effects. Okay. More utility for Zeus to help protect this. Glad that it's just kind of like omni-target negate. That just means that the only things that can really affect this are shield. Yeah, you have to get rid of the Zeus first. So that's kind of nice. I think Feloy is an easier condition to meet for the protection for Centaurbor than this. But that being said, though, like if every 3-spirit Elestral had protection from the stadium, that would be, well, boring. So don't mind a different condition. Also helps with it being the lower attack as well. So okay, all right. So before I get my full analysis, let's actually continue watching, because I'm assuming there's other forms to be revealed. By the looks of the thumbnail, let's see. Just a straight effect, and here we go. Ooh, okay. Oh, this is real interesting. So we've known about Elechick. That is a completely new effect, though. Huh. That is interesting. It's funny because for my mono wind deck I was testing, one of the recommendations I got was to run Elechick to help search out another Wind Elestral, but I guess that's not a thing anymore. So that's funny. Okay, but Elechick, same stat line, 4 attack, not bad at all. Pretty standard, so that's good. And let's see. When the normal cast this Elechick, you can search your deck for a Divine Rune and add it to your hand. Nice. Okay, I'm liking this. Zeus isn't the best Divine Rune right now. As we know, its effect to only decrease by 3 attack. But at the same time, that is not terrible to be able to set up for your Voltempest. Nice that you can actually search it out. And that probably will have some other applications. We also have Griffuse here, which I am blocking. So let me move my webcam over here, since we already talked about Elechick here. So Griffuse here, a 5 attack, 3 defense Thunder Wind Elestral. And it reads, if you nexus 1 spirit from a Divine Rune on your field... Oh, you can nexus 1 spirit from a Divine Rune on your field. If you do, you can special send this Griffuse into... this Griffuse into Voltempest from your hand or deck. Okay. I like this package. So, of course, it's going to be... You have to get something to stick to get into Griffuse, but that's not the hardest thing with, say, a Rhyceros out. You can kind of start forcing your opponent to use their runes, and if they don't have it, you can just kind of stick a Rhyceros sometimes. So getting Griffuse here, normally, like looking at its stats, not great stats there for a 2-spirit Elestral. I mean, 5's a fine attack, but it can so easily be attacked over by 1-spirit Elestrals, which is not great. Though, of note, Sorlet is not out here. But still, not amazing there, nothing to write home. If you're spending spirits, you want to hit at least 6, if not, well, really you want to hit 7 attack. And yeah, 3 defense, nothing to write home about. But with all that being said, though, if you're really using this to get up into Voltempest, the stats are whatever. You're not going to run it for its stats. You're running to get into Voltempest. That's okay. That's neat. This is going to be a really fun deck to actually try out. I love these kind of like special ascend lines to kind of get into your 3-spirit Elestrals. So for casual play, this is definitely going to be a lot of fun to play. And it's nice that it sets up for Voltempest to be able to stick a bit easier. Of course, you still have to play around Shield, but considering Shield is like the biggest answer, but it's only one card, that's not too bad to try to actually have to play around. I think that's pretty reasonable. Still might not make it meta relevant, but in terms of actually being able to play these cards, I don't think that's too bad at all. And this does set up so Voltempest can burn. I like that as well. Burn deck can't be targeted by stuff. That's quite nice. I mean, of course, there's other counter runes that can counter this. So, but the point is, it doesn't fall prey to like some of the same counter runes as a lot of other stuff as well. So, like Poison Tip won't be able to actually work on Voltempest here. So I really like this line. Okay, yeah, it says Griffuse does set up Voltempest to be able to use its effect to burn your opponent for 3. And of course, the 3 spirits on there, as long as you're playing around Shield, you're probably going to also be forcing your opponent to expend 1 to 2 spirits off of its attack, if not just all 3 as well. So that, I think that definitely has some potential there. Okay, for an Electric Wind deck, combined it with some Exaltairs as well. I mean, you might not be using Exalter as much in this, but it's still an option as well for more burn. So that comes with more testing, of course. But yeah, let's finish watching this out now. Give my closing remarks. So let's see. I don't think there will be anything else. It's just going to be the general Kickstarter information. Probably another giveaway, I would assume. That might be just revealed on Twitter, though. I'll have to check that out. But okay. So yeah, that was today's reveal. Let me shrink myself down here so we can see Elichic's effect. Oop, I didn't mean to stop that. So, final thoughts. Elichic change, I do quite like that, giving it a bit of a different utility to help out this line. Again, I just really like that. Four attack isn't too bad, and really you'd also kind of be wanting to run for its effect. And of course, with Zeus's effect, if it stays the same to reduce the Electric by 3 attack, 4 attack with an easy attack over. It's not the best exchange, but it's still a exchange, so that is synergy there. So that is good. Griffuse here, I was talking about the attack, but honestly, you're just going to use it to Nexus 1 off of Zeus to ascend into Voltempest here, which is really what you want to use it for. So not too bad there. It's a bit of a commitment, but at the same time, not too bad there, as you will easily be able to set up Voltempest to use its burn effect. Now, to expend 1, it is a bit high risk, and to have to expend 1 to burn 3, it doesn't... Obviously, if it could just burn free for not having to expend 1, that would be better, but I think it's fair for the balance as well. So for 3, honestly, that's good. Just how good it is will just kind of depend certainly on the meta, as well as seeing how good the deck is. How consistently can you get out Voltempest here? But really, I think you just want to see the Griffuse as well. So, and then the protection's great. Just the fact that the only things that are really going to stop it are Pandora's, Gorgons, which are both expensive, and your opponent uses spirits when this case actually isn't as good because you will be losing 3. And no, that's not true. This Pandora, yeah, no, your opponent has to use 2 spirits, but then they still need to use spirits to remove the Griffuse as well. So it's an out for your opponent, but I don't think it's super oppressive where you're just kind of like, oh man, I lose out on so much. And really the biggest punish is just shield here. But yeah, I definitely see a lot of potential. I think this is fun for like a Thunder Wind, maybe like control burn deck, since Thunder does have some hand control stuff. We'll just have to see what the rest of the cards are. But those are kind of my initial thoughts. Obviously, I'm going to need more time to think on it for more stuff. So I might add some onto my next reveal. I don't have any plans on when I'm going to upload this, but either I'll kind of put more thoughts at the end of this, or it'll be tagged onto another video later on. We will just have to see. But yeah, I guess final thoughts for right here, right now is Voltempest definitely has some promise. I just need to think about more in a meta context. Obviously, things are really changing with, especially the Aeolus change. So it's a lot harder to kind of start judging stuff as we're actually seeing the changes to the meta. We just haven't tested it. But for like casual play, oh, this is going to be such a fun card to build around. It's just like the Pantera. It's just another fun 3-spirit Celestial try to get up into and have fun with and make a deck. So yeah. So I hope you all enjoyed this live reaction. I can't promise how much more I'll be able to do this since some days I am at work. Today was just a special case, but if you enjoyed this live reaction, hit the like button, comment down below. Do you like these? What did you think of my analysis? Do you have anything to add that you disagree, agree with, or your own thoughts? Would love to hear that in the comments down below for sure. And if you're excited to see all these reveals and my analysis, as well as any other content, especially Elestrals related, coming out in the near future, subscribe, hit the notification bell to let you know when I am uploading. Also follow me on Twitter for more updates, as I will still give this disclaimer that most likely when this video is up, I am still having to deal with the family emergency that I keep mentioning, so uploads will be spotty on top of me just trying to keep up with my TCG player shop. So pretty much Twitter will be the best way for you to get updates on when I'm uploading, what content to expect. But once this next 2 weeks kind of passes, I'll be back to regular uploads. Look forward to that. So it's the next day now, and I've been able to give more thought to these cards. So I just kind of wanted to elaborate a bit more on my previous analysis. So starting off with Elestrals here, I think it hits a perfect niche, being able to search out the Divine Rune, and 4 attack isn't bad. So if your deck really needs to fetch your Divine Runes, you're going to run Elestrals. If you're running a deck with Electric and you run the Divine Runes and you need something to fill out your deck, or you really want a searcher for your Divine Rune, Elestrals fits into it. I just don't see it being run in every single deck because, of course, if you're not running the Divine Spirit to search out, I don't know if you really run Elestrals. I don't think Elestrals is worth it unless you have a Divine Spirit to search out or want to. And that doesn't mean you need the Divine Spirit. It can just be oh, hey, a +1 to hand that can help me do a bit better on board. So Elestrals, not in every single deck, I don't think, but it's still just a solid card that fits a good niche at a decent attack. So that is a win for any deck that wants to run Electric or just needs to search out their Divine Rune. Because the nice thing is you don't have to just search out Zeus. You can search out any Divine Rune. So really like that card. But as for Griffuse, pretty much I don't think you'll run Griffuse at all unless you're running Voltempest, just because unremarkable stats and its whole effect is to get into Voltempest here. So let's discuss Voltempest. And Voltempest, stat-wise, I don't think it's fair to really compare it to the other 3-Spirit Elestrals because the chances of both you and your opponent having out a 3-Spirit Elestral at this stage, I think is rare. That might change, so I don't want to say that it's not a possibility, and in which case the attack, its stats I think are fairly unremarkable. Stuff hits over it on both ends of the spectrum. But at the same time, I think that likelihood of you answering a 3-Spirit Elestral with a 3-Spirit Elestral is not going to be the norm. So I don't think that matters too much. The important thing is it cannot be grieved easily by 1 and 2-Spirit Elestrals tacked over in any way. So that's good. And then the built-in destruction with Zeus is also going to be pretty good for that. Now, I will say, being able to disenchant 1 to burn 3 spirits, I think is pretty underwhelming for a 3-Spirit Elestral. I mean, you've pretty much got Voltempest, which doesn't cost your spirit. You need to Nexus that can do 2 and wind. I think that's just highly more efficient and more easily accessible. So for that, I think it is a bit underpowered in that regard. But when you kind of think about what kind of strategy this card would go into, I think it would be more a top end of probably a controller burn style deck, just because this card needs so much setup. You need to be able to find your Zeus, you need to be able to ascend into Griffuse. So a control deck, I think, will fit more into that style. So having Voltempest kind of be your top end, once you can maybe make sure your opponent doesn't have an easy answer to it, such the biggest one being Shield right now, since to my knowledge it still doesn't target, so that's the easiest way to remove it. But once you can kind of get yourself in position where Shield isn't an issue or your opponent doesn't have Shield on board, sure, I could see this being at least decent payoff to be able to go into start burning your opponent's spirits and attacking, dealing possibly 2 to 3 spirits of damage, or 2, well, really the spirit damage from its attack, since it'll be at 3 spirits. So I don't think it's terrible. The protection effect really does make it nice, extra sticky, which is kind of what you need for these. But unfortunately, since it does need so much setup, and I think just the simple 3-Spirit burn won't be too great, I don't think this will be a super amazing deck. Just will be a fun deck. But I could be wrong, as this is just speculation on what we know so far, and things are obviously changing. So I'd love to see this do pretty well, and who knows, maybe Electric will be, with Wind, will be a good control package, so really you and your opponents are kind of keeping even on spirits, and this can just be the little edge you need to go over the top of the spirits. Could be that case, especially compared with Voltempest, so don't think it's a bad card at all, just as a more aggressive top-end tool for a control strategy. So that's my thoughts on it. I definitely think there's a lot more potential for this card as well. It's just, since this isn't fitting so much into a deck itself, I don't think I can possibly think of all the scenarios that Voltempest can be used in. So that's what I've thought of so far. So I'd actually love to hear your thoughts on this card down below, as I think there's a lot more to discuss with this card. But of course, I think the most important thing will just be testing this card to see what it can do and what strategies it'll fit into. So we'll see. All right, 2 days in a row, I get to do a live reaction, and that's just because, honestly, I never looked at it until I got off work today to do this reaction. So here we are. So 21 days till Kickstarter, super exciting, and it's a stellar reveal by the title. Should be that way up above. So let's actually start watching. Again, you won't be able to hear the sound, and that's just because I really want to show my reaction to it. But you all should still go actually watch this, support the official Elestrals channel, as that's the best way to get this game to grow, and then you can listen to the sound and such. So let's get right into it. Should also say 21 days. It is Wednesday, October 26th. So let's see what it is. It is, ooh, Sproutyr here. That's cute, kind of more of a autumny vibe. Instead of the lush green, you get more of a brown. I like that. That's cute. And a little cute little pose there. Let's see. Does it do anything different? When Sproutyr is normal cast, you can search your deck for an artifact and add to hand. So exact same thing as it's done before. So let's finish off the trailer and kind of discuss this card a little bit, because I don't think I've really given my thoughts on this card so far. Let's see if there's anything else of note here. I don't think so. Yeah, just regular. Love the color change. It's so cute. I think I like the color on this one more, just a bit more differentiated. Okay, that was it. But that makes sense. Can't always have big reveals today. So Sproutyr here, just my thoughts on the card. Kind of like what I said with Elechick here, just the simplicity of this effect to be able to search you out a specific kind of card will never be bad. If you need a specific artifact, you just run Sproutyr to get it more easily. If you're running a green deck that so happens to run artifacts, Sproutyr could also be a pretty easy include, as it allows you to pretty much add a card to hand, go +1 to your hand. So that's really, really good. I mean, you could also argue it's it's just a cycle. You're playing out Sproutyr to get that, but you keep the Sproutyr on board anyway. So not going to really get into that too much, but searching out a specific card will never be bad. And the 3-5 stat line isn't too bad here. 3 attack is pretty unremarkable, but being able to throw in defense with 5 defense and possibly 6 under Floy Forest is never going to be bad. And since you're searching out an artifact, you can actually power up Sproutyr pretty easily to be able to hit normally 5 attack. I mean, obviously it depends on which artifact you're grabbing right now. We only know 5, but that you can pretty much safely expect, like, you can set it up to have either like 8 defense, 7 to 8 defense with Bag of Winds, Scythe, 5 attack with pretty much everything else. I think Thunderbolt gives 2 attack. Thunderbolt, the Poseidon's Trident of Poseidon, Scythe as well, and Hammer of Hephaestus gives you 1 attack for each of your enchanted runes. So they're in increments. Point being is, like, Sproutyr, be able to search out a weapon. Sure, it's a bit of a spirit commitment, but it's still nice just to be able to hit over stuff and with not a terrible stat line. Obviously, the attack's not great, but with not a terrible stat line, especially with the defense, pretty good to me. And it's seen play in Mono Earth mostly because we need to fill out the list. I imagine that with some of the new Earth reveals, Sproutyr might be kicked out, and so will Scythe just for stuff. But I could be wrong about that. I really haven't put too much thought into it either. So that's my thought on it. Just kind of the same vein as Elechick. So that's about it. I don't think I'll put much update because I've had time to think on it either, but who knows, maybe I'll say more. We'll see. So yeah, we'll see I don't know where this review will be, if it will be paired with my yesterday's review or if it'll be compiled together. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. All right, so today is Thursday, October 27th, and we're 20 days away from Kickstarter. And as you can see, it says you need this new alt art Elestrals. So seeing that was just probably going to be an alt art, and I've been really enjoying doing these live reactions, I figured, why not do it? So waited till got off work to kind of film this. So let's actually get right into it. I'm really excited to see what the reveal is. So of course, go check out this video yourself because you want to support the official Elestrals channel, and by being able to watch it, liking it, the original video, you definitely help them out as well as me. So you can watch it for this. But yeah, Art Centaurbor, and this was teased on Twitter yesterday, and most people thought it was probably going to be something like this. But this alt art looks sick. Nothing we've seen like this before. You've got the Spinosex, the Spinums, the Equilinks in the background. I really like this, and then how the name glows. I would love to see the foil pattern on this. Like, the artwork itself looks stunning, but just imagine with a clean foil pattern on it. that makes me super excited. So it's just Centaurbor. Let's see if there's any changes. 11 attack, 15 defense. That seems about right. 3 spirits, of course. And then you may disenchant 1 earth from the Centaurbor to target destroy 1 card on the field. That's the same. Then, if Folio Force enchanted, Centaurbor cannot be targeted by Invoke runes. So exactly the same as how it's previously been. And this has been considered one of the better 3-spirit Elestrals just because it does have protection effect. Granted, it's only towards Invoke runes, meaning it's very limited, but just means that your opponent can't easily deal with it. And you can usually play around if your opponent has Kinleo or something right now, or player. And not even really, you need multiple counter runes to be able to stop this, assuming like you have it on board just because you can pop their back row with this one by disenchanting 1. And it's September combo with it can't technically be with any weapon, but really you're going to use Scythe. September into Centaurbor sets you up with 2 spirits, granted you cannot use until the following turn, but if you have the protection effect and you know your opponent doesn't have a Kinleo, then most likely Centaurbor surviving anyway, so it is considered one of the better ones. I do think some of the protection effects we've seen on Voltempest was better, just because it was just target protection in general, so definitely not as good as that, but still pretty good nonetheless. So really like this card. I definitely see some potential in it. The biggest thing is just, it just gets too easily punished by the counter runes right now. And of course, it's sitting on the board before you can really do anything. If you're sticking to the September combo, isn't the best, but at the same time, there are ways to try to accelerate into this. So we'll be interested to see with all these card changes if Centaurbor will see play, but considering Mono Earth is looking really good and Mono Earth doesn't really need Centaurbor, don't know how often it will be run. Will be interesting, but let's finish this out before I give some closing remarks. See if they show anything else, or if it's okay, just the regular art comparison. Yeah, same exact effect there. Pretty good for like a start deck. Definitely powerful in like start deck. Starter deck meta. Or not even starter deck meta, just against other starter decks. So yeah, that was today's reveal. Pretty cool. Love the artwork. Centaurbor. Again, I have trouble analyzing it outside of the prototype deck format just because, there's a lot of changes. It's definitely going to be a centerpiece of a deck just because you do have to ascend into it. And if you're not trying to do it, it's usually just a dead card in hand. So there are some limitations to that. But that being said, though, compared to some of the other 3-spirit Elestrals we've seen, just having the built-in protection effect, even if it is more limiting, will still be quite nice. And just easily disenchant to pop one on board will never be bad. It just means that if your opponent only has 1 counter rune to set, you just pop that. If they don't, you just pop their Elestral and start attacking them for at least 3. That's really, really good, honestly. So definitely a lot of potential in that card. It's just too easily punished now. And unless they start changing things, or I shouldn't say it. You can definitely still bait out the counter runes with an Honor Earth deck and then try to build up to that. It's not too bad, but as it stands right now, from what we know from the Prototype deck format, a bit too slow, but we'll see if that holds true for the future. So as you can see, this video came out a bit sooner than a week and didn't have a whole week of reveals. And that was just because after last episode, seeing that it was over an hour long, I really didn't want to crank out an hour video once a week, every single week. And instead, I think I like the approach of releasing these in bits throughout the week, just depending on when I want to upload it versus how long it is. It's going to be a bit of a balancing act, especially with my time crunch. That is coming to an end on the TCG player front. Just letting y'all know, I'm recording this specific segment on Thursday, so the TCG player segment taking my time is coming to an end, though the family emergency, unfortunately, is still a bit up in the air, but that hopefully by end of next week will be resolved, so you'll be seeing a bit more regular content. But you still can, since I'm still actively trying to film these, I'm actually putting the time for this, you'll be able to see these at least intermittently through the week, even if there are no other videos. So definitely look forward to that, and I hope you enjoy kind of just this style content. A bit shorter, but also more frequently. So if you're like that, please let me know down in the comments below. So this has been the last however many days of reveals for the Elestrals Kickstarter. Just depends on when I decide to cut it off. But if you've been enjoying my analyses, I'd love to hear which of your reveals have been your favorite down in the comments below. Have you agreed with my analyses? Have you disagreed with some? I'd also love to see the kind of conversation of whatever thoughts people have, especially since I can't always be in the Discord to see the discussion when these reveals are first live. But if you're really enjoying my Elestrals content, in addition to commenting, make sure you like this video. If you want to keep up to date with my content, make sure you subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you're notified when I upload. And look forward to more content in general just coming out real soon.